We have some breaking news about the 2 Canadians killed in Israeli airstrikes in southern Lebanon. CBC News has learned their identities. For more, let's bring in the CBC's Sarah Galashan. So, Sarah, what more can you tell us?
Well, Jacqueline, so we know from one of their sons who has spoken to CBC News that on Monday, upon warnings from Israel that people should leave southern Lebanon because there were going to be airstrikes, that's when Hussein Tabaja, 75 years old, and his wife, Daad Tabaja, 69 years old, they decided that it was time to get in their SUV and to leave. And so they, like so many others, apparently, deciding the same, took out on a road headed toward Beirut. And then they were in touch via text message with their 6 adult children, some of whom live in Canada and others scattered in other countries around the world. But they were in relatively constant contact until about 7 p.m. And that's when their text messages stopped. There was no response despite efforts to reach them throughout the night. The hope had been that maybe their batteries had died. But one of their adult sons does live in Lebanon and was eventually able to get to the vehicle. So badly charred, we understand it was difficult to identify, as were the remains that were recovered from the scene. But Daad Tabaja's watch was found inside the vehicle, and now there are DNA tests that are underway, expected to provide further confirmation to the family that their parents were killed. Hussein and Daad Tabaja, Canadian citizens, their family saying killed by Israeli airstrikes. We do know from Global Affairs that there were 2 Canadians that were killed in those airstrikes. Their son Kamal Tabaja, speaking to CBC from Bahrain, where he is living right now, saying that the warning from Israel, he feels, was in no way adequate for people to actually get somewhere safely. Take a listen to what he told us.
I don't know. I can't. My words can't describe what they were trying to do. I just can't. I keep thinking about it, and I'm like, why? Why you told people to flee, and then you bomb the side of the roads or you bomb a road. Why are you doing that? These are harmful old people trying to get out of harm's way, and they've got kids, they've got grandkids.
So, Sarah, these were Canadian citizens, but what more have you learned about them and why they were in Lebanon?
Their son Kamal really sharing their life story with us just a short time ago. They had a home there, and essentially in their retirement, that is where they were living. According to their son, it was after the Civil War that the parents decided, they made two attempts, the second being successful, to immigrate to Canada, settling in Ottawa, and that is where in 1999 they and their eventually 6 children all became Canadian citizens, and they have strong ties to Canada. Some still live in Canada, and others that don't, as I say, still have many connections to the country. He says that Hussein and Daad Tabaja were last probably in Canada around 2019. That was before the pandemic, and that the pandemic, as well as old age, made travel back to Canada difficult, and so the family would often be, in the more recent years, visiting them in southern Lebanon, where their home there was. He says that old age that also probably played a bit of a part in their decision to stay, unfortunately, as long as they did. Kamal Tabaja says that he and the large family right now are, Jacqueline, they're in shock at the fact that this has happened. And he says that those in the family who are feeling this most acutely are the 13 grandchildren that they have and who had spent time with them as recently this summer in southern Lebanon.
Wow, 13 grandchildren. Sarah, thank you so much for sharing their story with us. That's the CBC's Sarah Galashan.